Sofia and I met August of 2023 on a Patron trip. Came back 2 weeks later to New York, and Sofia is a space cadet. We're supposed to be recording. She's like in and out answering her phone. I get to the studio. I think it was 4 o'clock. She tells me to meet her next door in a coffee shop. I have no idea where the I'm going.
It was actually worse than that. We had a recording at 4. I think I ended up being like, I'm running late. Then had the audacity to say, let's go to Balthazar and get a cocktail just to talk through the episode.
There's also another detail I remember. You invite me to this high snobiety party for Fashion Week. So I go, you totally miss it.
Oh my God, it's even worse than I remember.
It's Sofia Franklyn. You are listening to Sofia with an F, and the F is for phenomenal.
Welcome to Sofia with an F. I am sitting here with someone that I've recorded with once upon a time, long, long ago. The biggest celebrity, period. Bran Flakezz. Your outfit.
Oh my God, thanks.
You guys, head to toe, Louis Vuitton cowboy boots.
I know, they're gorge.
They're so gorge.
Thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
I know, so much has changed since the last time we recorded, but I'm happy to be back. Am I the first person you've interviewed twice?
No.
Oh, okay.
But the most exciting one.
Okay, thanks.
Can we talk about the last time you recorded?
Yeah.
Let's just let's address the elephant in the room.
Sofia and I met August of 2023 on a Patron trip to Montauk, and we hit it off. We were obsessed with each other. Mm-hmm. And then I came back 2 weeks later to New York for New York Fashion Week, and Sofia is a space cadet. I'm we're supposed to be recording. She's in and out answering her phone. I get to the studio. I think it was at 4 o'clock. She tells me to meet her next door in a coffee shop. I have no idea where the I'm going.
No, it was actually worse than that. We had a recording at 4.
Yep.
I think I ended up being like, I'm running late. Let's meet up at 4:30. And then had the audacity to say, wait, let's go to Balthazar and get a cocktail just to talk through the episode.
There's also another detail I remember. So Sofia, she's very sweet. Let me just start that off. You invite me to this high snobiety party for Fashion Week. You're like, let's go to this. And I'm like, okay. So I go. It's before we're recording. You totally miss it. It's fine.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's even worse than I remember.
You totally missed the party. And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to miss it. Let's go to Balthazar. I'm like, well, wait, are we still recording? It was so funny.
Wait, it's funny now,
No,
but
it was really
I think
funny.
there was some serious internal something going on.
Well, it was funny because we got coffee and you're putting on your lip gloss and you're like, so what are we talking about? And I was like, I knew it was not going to be a problem though, because we have really good chemistry.
Right.
And we could just yap about nothing. So I was like, don't even interview me. I was like, but you seem to have it a lot more together now.
Right. I'm a different bitch,
You're a different
right?
bitch. Yeah. What's changed?
I think I don't even remember that time period, which I think is very telling.
Yeah, what was going on?
I was probably taking whatever substances. I honestly don't know. I was in a horrible relationship.
Oh, that will do it.
Horrible, not because the guy was horrible, but because it just felt so wrong. And I knew
it.
I needed to get out of it, which I have never thought relationships are that impactful where every element to your life is gonna be kind of shitty.
I've always said you will never feel lonelier than when you are in a wrong relationship. The wrong relationship will give you this feeling of isolation that is so different than from actually being alone. Because it's you're not supposed to be alone. You're in a relationship,
right,
but you feel more alone than ever because the person is just not right and they're not seeing you and they're not hearing you and they're not valuing you. And it's this feeling of isolation I wish on no one. It's horrible.
I could not agree more. There's this lyric from Mitski.
Okay.
And she says, I know who you pretend I am.
Yeah.
And that resonated. I was I just knew the person I was in the relationship with, like, was hoping so badly I was this person that I'm not.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that's the worst.
It is.
Yeah.
But we're kind of moved on from that and maybe kind of dating someone. I don't know.
Okay.
I've been forthright about it. The spill.
Yes.
Not a boyfriend.
Not a boyfriend. I have referred to him as my situationship. I think we're past that at this point. I think we're very, very close friends with benefits. The only reason that there's not a boyfriend label, well, there's a few. The first one is he lives in LA and I live in Philly, and like that is really far. It's like a 6-hour plane ride. Like it is distance for sure.
Yeah.
And I think like I got out of my last relationship last April, and I feel like I learned so much, and I just don't like, my guard is definitely up still a little bit.
Right.
And I don't want to like this person that I'm dating right now, Jason, we can call him Jason. That's his name. Jason is just so amazing. And I don't want to like be a version of myself that I'm not fully like 100% sure of, because he deserves the world.
Right.
But he's been so patient with me. He's giving every green flag in the book. He's here with me in New York right now.
He dropped you off.
He dropped me off. He's just like freaking incredible.
Yeah.
So we're taking it slow, and like it was so nice. Like he's been in a long distance relationship before too. So we actually talked about it last night. You're the first person I'm telling. And he was just like, yeah, like why don't we like just take it by the summer? And this was like so mature of him. I've never dealt with a mature man. He was like, and obviously like I'm not holding you back. Like if you meet someone, because I'm going to Montauk for the summer. He's like, if you meet someone in Montauk and you have a connection, I'm just like, the fact that you're saying this right now like makes me want to lock you in. Like he's not insecure, like he's just comfortable, and he sings my praises, and like I do really adore him.
That is the hottest thing
It really is.
a guy can say.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can say. Like for the sleuths listening, like
Yeah.
if you love something, let it go.
Yeah.
If it loves you, it comes back.
It comes back.
Right.
And that was what he was giving. Like he was just like, yeah, like he's like, I'm personally not interested in pursuing anything else, but like I'm never gonna stop you. Like I know you
So
like live a hustling, bustling life. And like I was just like, oh my God, I've never dealt with a man with this like level of communication skills, which is probably the number one most important thing for me is communication. And
so huge.
I was just like, wow. So yeah, we have a man who's like basically my man, but like not my man, but my man.
But kind of, but not really. Also, I really respect that. And it is like this thing we do where we're like always trying to put a label. Like, so what are you guys? And it's like, we're figuring it out.
And everyone's pushing that too. Everyone's like commenting on videos.
I literally
like,
pushed. I was like, okay, so what is he though?
And I get it, because like we want answers, but like then it's like once you're like in that box, everyone's just like, I don't know. It's weird.
I know. Well, and also it's scary to put the label and like make it this super official thing, because it's like, I don't know, it puts this unneeded pressure.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah, but he's been patient and kind, and I love that about him, and we'll see where it goes.
Do you want to talk really quickly about the long distance thing? Because
yes, I need some advice.
Philly to LA, 6 hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, try which is 8 hours.
8 hours.
I complain about it a lot. I kind of love it.
How often do you guys see each other? Because that's what I was like trying to figure out. I'm like, do I go to you 1 month and then you come to me the next month? Or is it 1 week out of every month and then we're seeing each other like twice a month?
So that is such a good question. In the beginning, we were like just going with the flow. And then we decided we should not go longer than like 3 to 4, maybe 5 weeks.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too.
Because I start acting cuckoo around like week 3, 4.
What's like your attachment style? Because I'm anxious attached, and that's where I'm like nervous about, because like I will be so honest, I like need constant attention.
Right.
And you're in a whole different time zone.
Oh my God, the time, it is 6 hour difference.
I was gonna say, so like you're only awake like what, 8 hours of the day at the same time?
And he's super busy, like works 12-hour days. And when he's going to bed, I'm like in the middle of my work day.
Yeah.
And then when he's asleep is when I'm wrapping up and like I really wish it was flipped. For some reason, I feel like being awake at night when the other person's sleeping is like worse. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Like the morning you're busy.
And also at night you get like more in your feels because like during the day you're busy. Then at night, like that's when you're like usually like alone and you're thinking about everything. So that makes total sense.
Yes. And that has been a thing. But I will say it makes you miss the other person. And it, in a lot of ways, like adds a lot of elements that makes the relationship like healthier.
I kind of like can already see that.
Because you're forced to communicate.
Yeah. And also it's like I'm very someone who like really does like to like focus 100% on one thing. So like when I'm at work and doing work, I want to do work 100%. When I'm with him, I want to give him 100%. Like even now while he's here, I'm like, I'm still like obviously answering emails and making videos and I like feel so bad about it. But like, I guess that's my second question for you. Like, how do you make your time like worth it when you see him?
I am the exact same way.
Yeah.
I'm either in chill, relaxed, lovey-dovey girl mode or work mode.
Yeah.
And work mode means don't touch me, kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
and
me
it's
too.
like really kind of hard. Like I wish I could balance it more, but
Yeah.
I feel guilty. How do I make the most of my time? Just feel guilty 24/7 when I'm with him.
No. Okay.
It's so, well, especially because the industry we're in, it's like,
24/7.
Yeah.
It's nonstop.
I could be posting this. I could be, you know.
You could always be doing something.
Yeah. But to my attachment style, avoidant attachment.
Oh.
Because I love how Soph is shaking her head up and down because I'm so scared of getting hurt that I'm like, oh, I'm just going to run away first.
Yeah. I actually can see that with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally me running away from you with the recording. Like, what am I not running away from?
So how does a guy crack you? Like, how did he crack you?
He was the first guy to ever crack me.
Because that's what happens. Like someone like gets you to like get uncomfortable in because your habits are I'm gonna run away. But then someone like makes you change that habit because, you know, like what did he do to get you to change it?
He made me feel safe and secure enough.
Okay, good.
To do it, to like let my walls down. And like, trust me, the first little while I still pulled the same where I would like wouldn't really text back and I would be aloof. And he just kept going at it and once again communicated how into me he was and like how good of a guy he is.
That makes me so happy because you deserve that.
Thank you. And you deserve it too.
We're little lovebirds right now.
And we're like starting the recording on time. And I'm not literally saying.
She was so professional. She texted me yesterday. She's like, confirming. I'm like, what is this lingo? I'm like, last time I was texting like this group chat with like an assistant and like all these people. I'm like, oh my God, not Sofia like texting me herself to confirm. Like, okay, girl. And I felt so bad because I was kind of a flaky bitch. I was like, wait, can we do 4? I'm like, okay, girl.
After what I put you through last year, whenever that was, you have every right. We're going to talk about pop culture for a hot second. Justin Bieber commenting on Hailey Bieber's Vogue cover.
What was that comment again?
I'm going to read it.
Oh,
okay.
No.
It's Hailey Bieber on the front and Justin Bieber comments. I don't know if she posted her Vogue. It was probably a collab post, I'm assuming. And Justin Bieber said, yo, that's already
disrespectful.
Why do you have to start it with yo?
Right. Yeah.
Like it's Vogue. It's the
Right.
cover. We don't need to do yo.
Oh no.
Yo, this reminds me when Hailey and I got into a huge fight. I told Hales that she would never be on the cover of Vogue. Yikes, I know, so mean. For some reason, because I felt so disrespected, I thought I got to get even. I think as we mature, we realize that we're not helping anything by getting even. We're just prolonging what we really want, which is intimacy. And then I don't have the rest. But we get the...
What the diarrhea of the mouth.
And like...
No one asked.
And text it. This is such a huge moment. How does he not see like, oh, this could maybe like taint that?
Yeah, I feel like bad for him. I don't think he's in the right state of mind.
Right.
I obviously feel super bad for her too because she's probably dealing with so much behind the scenes and you would never know because I feel like every interview, every red carpet I see, she's so put together, so like prim and proper. But, you know, I hate to say this. I feel like he's like becoming almost like the next version of like Britney.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
And it's really like, it's just sad to see. And it's just a reflection again of like what we put these like childhood stars through.
Right.
And it's just not healthy. And that level, I think I was reading something like, I think it was about Taylor Swift. Because she went to this wedding last summer or 2 summers ago at the Jersey Shore, and the whole island was flooded. And someone wrote this, and it's so true. There's a level of fame that's almost as if you're in prison. Like you lose,
oh my God.
You become so famous that you actually lose all freedom. And I think it's funny because a lot of people, what they don't realize is like they want fame because in a lot of sense, fame can mean freedom to spend your money on anything because you have so much of it, freedom to travel the world, freedom to do what you want to do. But there comes a certain level of it where it's actually so limiting. And you're in this like level of life that such an elite group of people is in that not everyone understands, where it's like anytime you step outside of your house, there's paparazzi. Anytime there's somewhere you go. And it's like, that's why these people have to spend all this money on like these massive vacation homes that are like miles and miles in the mountains because it's the only time. But then it's like, even then it's almost like you're in quarantine.
Right.
You know? So it's like, what's the cost of the fame? Like, and dealing with that at someone like Justin Bieber, who's probably been in it since what? He's like 16. Like,
yes,
his brain is probably so like, I don't even want to know what it looks like.
Imagine the anxiety.
I would be done for
like
it. Yeah.
crippling anxiety. And I think that's so smart. It is like a prison.
Yeah. It's like at that point, I wouldn't want to ever be that level of famous.
No. I genuinely would not.
Yeah, I don't know why he would comment that, or like honestly, like why is it even like left up? Like delete that shit. Like,
but also like I would. And I'm not going to put the blame on Hailey. That's fucking crazy. She had
nothing to do. Yeah.
Imagine being her, like,
Yeah.
how having to manage like all the shit that comes with being on the cover, and then also having to like text your husband and say, please, what are you doing?
It's also just interesting. Like, I don't want to critique him because obviously I just said he's not in the right state of mind. But it's like, if I said something like that was clearly very mean, hurtful, and like, that's a very pointed comment. Like, he knew that was going to get under her skin. I would never. So? Yeah, I feel like that's a low blow. Like, you'll never be on the cover of Vogue.
But I think he was saying this was an argument that we had once.
Yeah.
And look how far we've come, and now you are on the cover, and I'm eating my words, and blah, blah, blah.
I know, it's just almost embarrassing to admit that you ever even said that to someone you love.
Like, you think it was a backhanded compliment?
Yeah. Oh, I think his intention was pure, but I just think the fact that he said that in general, like whenever it was ago, like that's like a really like ugly comment to make to someone. Like, like, let's compare myself to Hailey Bieber. Like, I'm a content creator. My dream is to one day be on like Forbes 30 under 30.
Right.
If someone I was dating got mad at me in a fight and randomly said, well, you'll never get on Forbes 30 under 30, that's like hateful. That's like ugly. That's for me, that's like, I want to date a partner that is like so supportive. It's like, if we're in an argument and you want to reference my behavior or something I did to upset you, but like, that's just a low blower. And I've been in a relationship with someone like that, and I don't like that.
Bran, you are so fucking like wise and insightful. I'm like sitting here like shaking my head up and down. I'm like eating it up. It's so true and valid. There's certain arguments that just shouldn't happen in a relationship, period.
You know how to like get under someone's skin. Like, I remember the last person I dated, he
blows.
He was Latino, and we had just started dating, and he, in the middle of an argument one time, like started speaking Spanish. And I was like, well, hold on a second. Like, I don't know what you're saying. Like, I don't speak Spanish. And he looked at me and was like, then learn it. And I was like, oh
You're
my
like,
God.
oh yeah, let me do that real quick.
I could tell in the moment that like he was genuinely really upset with the fact that I didn't know it, which is fine. But then tell me, and he was drunk when he said this.
Right.
I was like, so then tell me when you're sober, hey, it's important to me if we're going to date long term that you learn Spanish because I want to raise my kids speaking that. That's a conversation you have when you're sober, and it's an important conversation. Don't get drunk and then low blow me because you're now going off and yelling at me in Spanish, and I'm saying to you, hey, I don't know what you're saying. And then being like, then learn it. It was just this like really
Hateful
mean,
coming from a really-
It came from a place of hate. And I was just like, oh, if you resent me for that, like that's just what's giving Justin Hailey. Like, do you resent her for like having goals and aspirations and wanting to be on like this cover? Like, do you feel like a sense of competitiveness that like she's crushing in the fashion industry? Maybe it was at a time where his career, I don't know. I'm probably analyzing it too deeply.
No. I analyzed it the exact same way. Yeah. She's on the cover. It's like, why are we gonna, dig up old shit and kind of belittle it again? It seems like you are not happy with her success.
Just repost it to your story.
Babe,
literally.
simple. Even I know how to do that.
Reshare it to your story and just say proud of my wife.
Hey ladies, I need you to stop what you're doing and listen to me. Seriously, pay attention. We are all getting to that age where our bodies are just not what they used to be. You know what I'm talking about. You don't have the energy you used to have. Your skin isn't as soft and glowing as it used to be. Your hair isn't as thick or shiny. You just don't feel or look the same, and it sucks. But it's a new era, and we don't have to roll over and accept defeat. So I want to talk about Strong Cell. It's got NADH, CoQ10, and marine collagen in it, which all act as a lifeline to your body's cells. It's simple. There are cells in every single area of your body. If your cells are healthy and kicking ass, then you are going to be healthy and kick ass. Strong Cell is the only company to make NADH that actually gets to your cells, and it comes in a yummy daily drink. Go to strongcell.com and insert code Sofia and get 20% off. Seriously, strongcell.com now. That's spelled STRONGCELL. You want to look and feel 20 again? Then go get you some Strong Cell now. Let's talk about Klarna, because I love to swipe a card. You know what I don't love? Interest. That's where Klarna comes in, your everyday smarter spending partner. With Klarna, you can split your purchase into 4 interest-free payments, helping you manage your budget without the extra stress. Whether you're shopping in the Klarna app or with the Klarna card, it's all about flexibility and smarter spending. Plus, Klarna isn't just about payments. You can compare prices at your favorite stores and even earn cash back when you shop in the app. It's effortless, it's smart, and it's designed to help you get more value from every purchase. Choose Klarna at your favorite retailers or shop now at Klarna.com. CA residence loans made or arranged pursuant to a California finance law license. NMLS number 1353190. Klarna balance account required. Klarna may get a commission. Limitations, terms, and conditions apply. Transform your drive with Pura Car Pro, the smart diffuser built for your car. Control your fragrance with the app. Choose from clean, long-lasting scents and enjoy sleek design that complements every ride. Right now, get 20% off Car Pro and all car fragrances with code CAR20, but only for a limited time. Visit Pura.com and upgrade your summer drive today. We don't need to really dive into this one, but the runner girl, Kate Mackz.
Oh, we can dive.
Bran,
we can dive.
I watched the TikTok, one of them where you're talking about her at the influencer event. When I tell you I was tears laughing. Yeah. Can you tell everyone? Tell them the tea.
So a few years ago, Kate Mackz was a micro influencer. I think she was doing a lot of fashion and beauty content. And she went to, I honestly remember this very well. I think she went to a Cult Gaia event it might have been Fashion Week or New York. And she made this video that so many people make and was like, I went to an influencer party and influencers were mean to me. So, okay, my ears are perked up. I'm ready to hear what she's about to say. And all she really said in the video was people were coming up to me and asked me if I had management and who I was signed to. And I'm like, yeah, babe, that's what you do at an influencer event.
Literally.
A lot of times you're networking at these events, and a lot of times people in our space, not me, but a lot of times people change management like they change their underwear.
100%.
I've had friends who have gone through like 12 managers. It is not uncommon for someone to come up to you at an influencer event and be like, hey, like, I noticed you're signed to so-and-so. Like, how are you liking the experience there? Like, we talked about this. We talked about publicists like the first time you and I met. We were like, oh, I noticed you're with this publicist. That's just like networking and whatever.
It's not a belittling thing. If anything, it's like, oh, you belong here.
You know
That's
what? If you are insecure and if you're a smaller creator and you feel intimidated that you're in a room with bigger creators, maybe you can take it that way. And that's the video I made. This was 2 years ago, and I was just like, hey, like, I don't want to invalidate this girl's experience, but I feel like she maybe is taking things the wrong way. What I didn't like about her video, though, is, okay, you're accusing someone of being a mean girl, but you're not saying their name. So what happened was, of course, everyone's commenting and tagging random influencers. Oh, I bet it was Kit Keenan. Oh, I bet it was Acquired Style. Oh, I bet it was this person. Those comments then start getting likes and like, yeah, Acquired Style seems like she has bad vibes. Like, yeah, I bet it is her. So now you're kind of starting this whole mean girl smear campaign. I think that's mean girl in your comments. And my friend Jazz, who wasn't even at the event, people were dropping her name at it. So Jazz started replying to people and was like, not about me. I wasn't even at the event she's referencing. And Kate starts deleting Jazz's comments, almost as if to make Jazz look shady. So weird.
Oh, but she didn't delete the comments.
She didn't delete the comments tagging the name, but she would delete Jazz's reply to them being like, hey, no, it's not me. So then I made my video 2 years ago just being like, hey, like, I think she might have twisted this. Like, I don't know, like something seems off, kind of whatever. Because her video got like a lot of traction. And a few weeks later, she starts doing her running content. And she comments on my video. She's like, oh my God, can you delete this? I have the scaries. Meep. And she wrote Meep. MEEP. And I was just like, ever since then, I just had rancid vibes from this girl. I was like, because I pride myself in being like very genuine and authentic, and I don't like when other creators aren't. Yeah. And I could just tell she did that for views. She did that for like drama.
I was going to ask if you thought that.
100%. She didn't do it for, oh, I'm like actually upset and I want to like raise awareness. She did like, that was kind of weird and I'm going to make a story about it so I can get views. Like, because if she didn't want views, she would have just said, hey, it was this influencer who was kind of rude. But she didn't do that. So a few weeks later, her running content pops off. I keep seeing her all over my For You page, rolling my eyes. I'm just like, half of my friends are doing her video. I'm like, ew, guys, like this girl's fucking annoying. Right. And I never prey on I never prey on anyone's downfall. I think like everyone has dealt with an instance online where like you have a really bad reception and the anxiety you feel is unimaginable. Like when all of your mentions are bad videos about you. This girl fucking deserved it. She, once again, like I said, no authenticity, no genuineness in her bones.
Well, in deleting Jazz's comments, like she created a breeding ground for 100%. Like negative insults and like
during the election season, she interviewed Tim Walz for clout, knew it was going to be a good look for her. Great. I was cool with it. Raise awareness, whatever. And then bam, now that he's not elected, we're going to fucking Carolyn Levitt's house. No Lip Levitt at the fucking White House. And she's like, oh my God, you're an icon. Like, shut the fuck up. And then what pissed me off is it's like, okay, when you post that, just own it. Know that people are going to be upset. Be like, and just say, hey, like, I'm a Trumpy. Just say it. I'm a Trumpy, and this is what I did. Instead, she doesn't make any comments. In fact, on her reel, because she posted it to Reels, because it was apparently an ad, Sofia. It was apparently an ad. She starts replying to people who are like, being like, hey, we like don't like this. She starts like being snarky with them and like replying like hearts.
So has she publicly been like, I am a Trump supporter?
I don't think so.
So she's like pretending.
I think what she has said, I don't know if she's publicly said this online, but I know people who know her. And I think she's publicly said like, oh, like, I just didn't understand. Like, I'm just trying to be in the middle. There's no in the middle anymore. No. There's no in the middle. I'm sorry, you can blame Trump for that. Like, when you have someone whose policies and beliefs are as extremist as someone like Trump, you either say, I agree with those extreme values or I disagree. There's no being in the middle when people's lives are on the line.
I applaud you and respect the fuck out of you for how outspoken you've been about politics, which flashback to our recording and you called Tommy Lahren. What did you?
Fuck her, KKK Barbie. Tommy Lahren is like genuinely like I hope they picked her.
Right.
I hope they picked her. I hope they picked her.
Have you talked about, because you've been very outspoken.
Yeah.
By the way, I've been in the comments and I'm like,
love
fuck
you.
yeah. And I like everything.
I love you.
I could definitely be more outspoken, but
Yeah.
it's not about me. We're going to talk about how you posted something. Oh, and you lost a brand deal. Have you talked about that publicly?
I actually haven't talked too deeply about it. I just lost another brand deal.
Shut up.
2 weeks ago for being political. Not even for my views. The brand was just like, hey, we don't align with really political creators in general, whatever. And a lot of people ask me why don't you say the brand's name? Why don't you kind of out them? And I think it's complicated because from a business perspective, a lot of these brands are repped by the same agency. So it's and the agency more often than not is amazing. And they're like, hey, we are really sorry. The client, which was the brand in this case, the client is pushing back and saying they don't want to work with you anymore. And a lot of times they'll even say, we have a bunch of other brands under us that we would love to get a deal going with. But if you talk badly them about their client, the agency's then gonna be like, hey, we're not gonna work with you. And some people will be like, hey, no, have all the integrity in the world and fuck your relationships. But it's I have a family to feed at the end of the day and a business to run. And I also, there is legalities, a lot of contracts you need to read front and back because they have clauses in there there's no defamation, there's no sort of things. And you sign them before you start making the content.
Right.
And then they have it in there that they can pull out, So for me, I just smile when it happens. I'm just hey, that's not a brand that I want to align with. Clearly, they don't have my moral values.
Yeah.
But I won't go as so far as to say the brand name because I think that would just
it's not needed.
It's not needed.
It's you're already, telling your point of view. You're raising awareness. You're being outspoken.
And I also
it's
just think just a few years ago was the whole thing with, do you remember when Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light happened?
No, okay. Remind me.
Dylan Mulvaney, transgender woman, Bud Light did a campaign with her. It completely backfired. Everyone started blacklisting Bud Light. Bud Light handled the situation horribly. They pulled the campaign.
Because they were supporting trans LGBTQ.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just bad market, bad thing. And it just blew up in everyone's face. And I just think at this point,
the campaign.
It was horrible. Bud Light could not have handled it worse.
Yeah, what?
And, there's a lot of hateful people out there that even if I was to make a video being this is the brand that dropped me, they would also get a lot of clout and a lot of attention from the people that do support Cheeto Man. And I saw it was just
Cheeto Man.
Yeah, that's what I call him. But yeah, no, I've been really outspoken about it. Just because, I don't know, I just don't care anymore.
But you're you are the only influencer that I can think of right now. I know there's more.
Yeah, there's definitely a few more, yeah.
There's a few more, but there's not a lot.
I think the problem is, number one is what I mentioned.
You lose
a lot of
brand
creators,
deals.
it's so funny. A lot of people will tag in the videos and be like, okay, but what about this person? You hang out with her, but she hasn't mentioned it. That must mean she's a Trumpy. And I'm in my head, I'm no, she's actually not. She just doesn't want to post about politics because she keeps a very brand safe image. And do I respect that from a business side? Yes. From a personal side, not the most.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to fucking tell people in my co-working space what they can and can't post about. My closest friends in this industry are Jazz, Hailey, and Carly, who are diehard liberals. I'm close with you.
I've seen them
liberal.
Be very public about it.
And see, Eli Rallo, liberal. Other people in this space I hang out with, I take content with, I make. I've never really had a deep conversation about politics because we're not that close. I'm also not having deep conversations with them about my relationships, my friendships.
Right.
With Hailey, Jazz, Carly, Eli, those are the people that I go to about my personal issues, and we can talk politics, and they are completely aligned.
Yeah.
I don't speak on anyone else's beliefs because I don't know them. And I mean, do I hope that they all are not Trump supporters? Absolutely. But it is what it is. I know you're not. Thank God.
Maybe this is my my stepping stone and my breakthrough to being outspoken about it.
Because here's what they don't understand. It's like, yes, you are alienating an audience. I'm sure I've lost thousands of followers for saying it.
Thousands and thousands of dollars.
But you also really like build respect with your community that really respects you for being outspoken. They have the same values, and you gain new followers who maybe at first were like not that big of a fan of you, but now they're like, oh, the fact that you're actually speaking up about things that matter, you've got my respect now. So there's such an opportunity. I mean, I made a video talking about how my medication is now like kind of like a little bit up in the air because of the administration, and it got 8 million views. I got like 15,000 followers from it. Like I said, I'm sure I lost like 3,000 or 4,000.
Right.
But still, the net was better, and I got a campaign with an HIV awareness company after it. Like it was, so things can happen, and it's like, that is good money. That is not blood money. It's not representing something that I don't want to represent. But I think there's a limit. I do. I don't think like what I spoke about this on my platform too. I don't think liberals are doing themselves any favors by playing the like, how liberal are you game? Like my friend said this the other day, and I felt like it was very true. Let me be liberal my way. And there are different ways to be liberal. We can both be liberal and vote for the same candidate. That doesn't mean we have to have the same beliefs on certain topics. Right. It doesn't. But at the end of the day, we live in America, and we need to put our life vest on first. And that is getting the Trump administration out. And if we can align on that, we can work together. I don't really care if we don't totally agree on, you know, gun control. We can have different beliefs as long as you're still overarching liberal. But hey, that's a privilege. I'm white. You know, I understand not everyone needs to think that way, but that's just how I think. But I don't think we are doing ourselves any favors by tearing each other down. Like I got tagged in a video like by a liberal woman who lives here in New York and was like, it would be nice if Bran Flakezz would talk about like Mayor Cuomo. And I'm like, okay, I can't talk about everything. And I also don't fucking live in New York.
You're like, I also don't have a nickname for Cuomo yet, but when
like,
I do.
It's just like, I don't really like know, like you can't speak about everything. And I'm like, why don't, instead of you taking that 5 minutes to make a video about me not doing enough, make a video about someone who's, you know, doing too much on the, you know, the other side, you know, it's weird.
I think I've justified not being outspoken by saying, well, once I do, and anytime I have put my views out there, I've gotten shit from people saying, well, why aren't you doing it more?
And that is what my biggest complaint with overly liberal people. Nothing's ever good enough. And then it's like, okay, well, you said that, but you also said this. And it's just like, why are you attacking me? We're on the same side.
And I feel like being liberal is like trying to put it into these categories is the opposite of what it is.
A really important thing though too, and which is sad, is we need every vote we can get. And there are so many people that live in a bubble and live in the, I don't really know who to vote for, and I don't really think I like either of them, so I'm not going to vote for either of them. We have to accept the fact that that unfortunately exists so much. Yeah. And then if they're going to be forced to make a decision and they have one side who's like, oh yeah, like we're all over here, we all hate black people, come over here with us, but at least they're united in their fucking discrimination. Then they look at us and they're like, well, you're not doing enough and you're not doing enough. It's like they're going to just go for the people that seem like more united in their hate than us who are like a shit show just shitting on each other. Like it's so crazy. Like,
I know.
So it's like I've talked to someone who was like a moderate before, and they were just like, yeah, like I ended up voting for Trump because like y'all are kind of crazy. Like you're telling me that I'm like, if I don't vote for this person, that I'm this, that, and that, and that. And I'm like, yeah, I can get why we're not really making a good selling pitch. Like you should be educated and you should know not to. But unfortunately, we don't live in an ideal world. And that is,
and we don't live in a black and white world.
We don't live in a black and white world.
And we can still respect like differences, and we don't, it's like, we don't need to like, tear each other down within the community.
Like, let's focus on issue number one, like I said, which is like, let's get this guy out and we can nitpick later. Let's just, but if we keep nitpicking, I love that. Props to you for speaking up, because it really is important.
It is.
And I respect that. And you know, I'm not ever going to be the person who's like not doing enough. Like saying it once is impactful. A lot. It's a lot, especially because like there is a lot at risk. And one more thing, and then I'll shut the fuck up. You have to understand, you are raised in life not to speak about politics at work. That is like one thing. When I worked a 9 to 5, you're always said, don't talk about money, don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion.
I thought that was just like
in life.
Any dinner table.
So it's crazy when we're now, this is our job, even though people make a mock of it. It's like, that's not a job. It's our job. It pays our bills.
Yeah.
And you're now asking us to talk about politics at work. And I think that that's fair because you're following me from my values, my life. But you have to also say, hey, if you're not speaking about politics at your job, maybe you shouldn't judge somebody else for not speaking about it at their job.
Yeah.
Give some people some room. There's a great impact we can make with our platform sizes, and I urge everyone to, but I'm personally not going to cut somebody off because they haven't spoken about it.
Right. And also, I feel like I had a manager tell me this once because I remember I would post a lot and it was always coming from a place of fear.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to piss anyone off. I want to be funny, but like that's like trying too hard. And I remember he told me this, I'll never forget it. And he said, the followers you lose by being authentic, you don't want following you.
No, it's so true because they're the same followers that aren't buying from you. They're not converting, like because they're watching you to be entertained. And the second they don't feel like they're entertained anymore, they're leaving.
Right.
You want the community. You want the ones that are invested in you and are really. It's so true.
So we're going to talk about social media because you are the influencer whisperer.
Oh my God.
And you have this series called Free Consulting for Influencers.
Yes.
Which I eat the fuck up.
Okay, I'll make
watch
more.
them. Please do.
Okay.
And I think the amount of times people write in like, I want to start a podcast. I want to go into like the influencing realm. I struggle with that part of my job. And you know that. When we were in the Hamptons, we were like trying to make a TikTok and you were like, okay, babe, just give me your phone and like let me just like film it and just like do these things.
Because people are talented at different things.
Yeah.
And like you truly belong behind a mic. Like you speak with conviction, you have confidence, you have really good chemistry, you can talk to anybody, you can like you belong to interviewing people.
Thank you.
But in this modern day and age, you have to also do the other stuff.
Well,
so,
now the other stuff is arguably more important and then people will listen to your show.
Podcast,
At first I thought you were going to say not behind the mic, behind the camera. And I was going to be like, okay, let me just like redo my whole job right now.
No, you belong behind the mic. 100%.
I think the internet sees me as one way.
Yeah.
Which I love and like is a part of me, which is kind of like this. There's always going to be the call her daddy barstool thing, right? Yeah. Like sexual, ditzy, which I mean, I am those things. I can be sexual and ditzy and smart at the same time, you know?
100%.
But also I think after the drama, I like had this really hard exterior to like, because I was so scared.
100%. For you, like you present yourself as an entertainer and you're so entertaining, but I think getting to know you is to love you. And like you have such a pure heart and like you genuinely are a very good friend. Like when I had an event last year for my, I had a launch with Poppy and Just Salad and like just the time that you took to show up, you posted so much about it. And even just last week we ran into each other because you came to Remy's event. Like you're a supporter, 100%. You have a big heart and you've been through a lot. And I think like, I want you to talk about more of it and just talk about, I want you to be more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think like,
Bran, you're like so good.
Because
good.
I think a lot of people, I would say if I was a Sofia hater, I would just be like, oh, she's just trying to stay relevant and she's trying to milk what was.
The underdog and like the girl that missed out. Yeah.
One, it's not true. You're so talented. It's unreal. And two, there's so much more to you that I feel like you can show. And like even just like, not saying you need to be political, but even you speaking about that, I think will surprise a lot of people because you have a good heart. You have really good morals. You're really good to your friends. You're like, you've had the same, like, Allie, like you've had the same friends for like years. And that speaks to your character because you are a good friend and you are a good person. Yeah. And I think a lot of people want to paint you in this way of like, oh, she's just like this entertainer who's still trying to like hold on to relevance. It's like, no. And it's like, I also just don't think like people like really value like and kind of understand like what you went through. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't just lose a business, you lost a friend.
I lost, my livelihood, a friend, my trust.
And I think like anybody can understand like how bad that can like really impact you.
I mean, I became a different person, and that's translated into how I present myself to the world.
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of trying to like crawl out of that. But I think in order to do that, I should be really open about it.
Our body, and 100%, like our body learns patterns. So it's like you're in your young 20s when this happens, and you're starting off your
Still
career.
in my young 20s.
100%. And you're putting yourself out there so much, and you just get met with like a shitty ending.
Yeah.
And that teaches your brain, it like trains it to be like, hey, if you act this way, it's going to have a shitty ending. And it's not true.
Yeah.
That wasn't your ending. That was just like the end of a chapter, but like your whole book is still being written.
Okay.
So I think just be vulnerable throughout the chapters.
Yes.
And just like show more, and like, you have like your own platform now, and you have your fans who have still been there forever. And like, you have such a great group of friends. Anyone in the New York City influencer space, like, sings your praises because you were so kind. You're honestly very easy to work with, and you really are just a great person.
Thank you.
And I think you have like so much to offer, and I think you kill it on the couch. I think you kill it as an interviewer, and I think in your personal like take what you put on your mini episodes and try putting them more in like a get ready with me TikTok first.
Yes.
And I think that would like really be impactful.
Yes.
And there's also just so much you can speak about because you have been in this industry longer than others, and you've seen some shit.
Right.
And, you know, there's more things. There's probably a million things I could ask you from a logistics perspective. Like, hey, my podcast is starting to blow up. What's the step I should do? What shouldn't I do? Who should I avoid? Like, just things that you learned growing up, and like, honestly, how it translated like to your life. Like,
it's such a valid, amazing point, because I was kind of told when that whole thing was happening, don't talk about it because you're going to look bitter.
Yeah.
Right? And like move on and like keep it under wraps. But the thing is, it's such a big part of my story.
Yeah. And I think there's a way to talk about it without sounding bitter. Like, I think there's a way to just be like, hey, moved on years ago. Wish them nothing but the best.
But
Great
this is
on
what
you.
I learned.
But this is what I've learned. And I think what people don't understand is like, I lost a friend. And that was what hurt me the most. It wasn't about the money. And I think you can speak about it from that perspective. It doesn't have to be like, oh, fuck them. They stole this. They stole that. And it's just like, they're profiting. Like, that is bitter, because that's like just being hateful. If it's just like, no, like, this is what I've learned.
It was a betrayal.
Yeah, this is what I've learned, and this is what I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
And this is, at the end of the day, I'm happy that it happened, and I'm happy that I had that experience, and I learned so much, and my life still like is amazing, and it wouldn't have been amazing if that never happened.
And I do genuinely.
I'm sure there's so many things that you're still so grateful about from that experience.
I genuinely
you probably
feel
learned
that
so
way.
much. Yeah,
I learned so much. I am grateful for that experience. I think it's now just a matter of like, let's just talk about it like open and honestly and genuinely, and it doesn't have to be this like thing that we avoid, you know?
I think that is like the number one issue too in our industry. Like, and I dealt with this a few months ago, where we are told like, just be silent. Like, if something happens online, nip it in the bud. It's very old school PR. Like, don't comment on it. And I think what we're starting to see is with this new wave, especially with Gen Z, people who really crave authenticity, that strategy is not working as much anymore. And now it's like silence is starting to equal complicit. And it's just like not really going over the same way. And I don't agree with that. Like, I'm like, if you're in a fucking scandal and if something happened, speak on it. And don't, if you're gonna wait till it's like you've thought about it. Don't wait for a PR person to write an apology or write an Instagram story for you. I think that is very old school PR, and it's not working. I think it's just like, honestly, like, it's not going to pass the people who are the younger generation. They're never going to fall for that.
Everyone's had like something in their past.
Yeah.
You've been super open about kind of this last chapter being really hard and having panic attack, trigger warning, panic attacks.
Yeah.
agoraphobia.
Yeah, it was really bad.
How open have you been about talking about that?
I'm super open. It's so funny. We just talked about it. Starting last summer, I was getting like really frequent panic attacks. It actually happened around June. And the day of my poppy dinner, I had like one of the worst panic attacks. Like I was so anxious. I was like having a panic attack on the train.
Oh my God.
And luckily,
killed your
lucky by the time everyone came to the dinner, it was like phenomenal. But they started happening really rapidly in June. And then I went to Montauk for what was supposed to be a vacation. And I was just so already like dysregulated that when I got there, I was kind of just in this like fixed state of panic. And I had to get out of there. I ended up leaving a day early. It was horrible. I got home and it didn't get better. It got worse.
Yeah.
I actually had to go to the hospital because my like resting heart rate was like 120. Yeah, which is like your usual like 128 is like exercise, 117 I think is exercise. Yeah. So my resting heart rate was 117. It was nuts. And yeah, for like 3 months I was a little bit agoraphobic. By a little bit, I mean it got better. Like the worst was I wouldn't leave my apartment, and then you get me steps, which is what you have to do. It's exposure therapy. Then I was able to go places in my neighborhood, and I was able to like go to the gym, but I would always want to get right back home. And then eventually like it started. I remember I went to a hotel for the first time like 3 months after all of this happened. It was my first time ever sleeping at a place that wasn't my apartment, but it was unlike anything I ever imagined. I remember one time when it was really bad, like my friends made a game plan to go to the movies. They were like, hey, we'll take separate cars. If one of us needs to leave and take you home, we can do that. It was horrible.
Like being supportive.
Being super supportive, yeah. But I was diagnosed with panic disorder, which is basically you're always scared that you're going to have a panic attack. It's like meta anxiety.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's
I
like
didn't know
anxiety
that.
of anxiety. So like panic disorder is you either always are having panic attacks or both, where like you have them frequently and it comes to the point where you're just scared of always having one. You're fearful of the panic attacks.
Yeah.
That you start limiting yourself. And you're like, ooh, I have panic attacks on planes, so I'm not going to fly anymore. Ooh, I have panic attacks driving on the highway. I'm not going to drive on the highway anymore. But what happens with that is your bubble gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
And then you're reinforcing that thinking.
You reinforce the thinking. And that what happened to me was I was agoraphobic because I was like, oh, I'm going to have a panic attack going to dinner. So I didn't go to dinner anymore. I'm going to have a panic attack going on Sofia's podcast. So I didn't go on Sofia's podcast anymore. And eventually for me, I was like, okay, all the things I love to do with my job are traveling, going to events. I can't do any of that anymore. So I'm going to stop making videos. And
it got to that point.
It got to that point where last summer, if you look at my page from like July like 12th on to like September, you'll find like one video from me every week. And a lot of the ones that I was uploading, I was talking about what was happening, but I was really embarrassed.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, there is like,
there's
even
a
though
stigma.
There's a stigma, even though it's so talked about, way more depression, anxiety, there's still a stigma, you know?
I had no hope. I had no hope that it was going to get better. I wasn't suicidal, but I was hopeless, which my therapist was like, sometimes that is like one of the worst emotions.
Yeah.
But, you know, I thought I wanted to go into a patient program. I was not a danger to myself or others, thankfully. So I wasn't. So I did therapy 3 times a week. It was like my own version of like a little outpatient program. I'm not ashamed of it. It helped me get back to where I was. The first time I ever came back to New York City was in November. So I went 4 months without coming to New York because that was kind of where all the trauma really happened for me. Like it peaked in New York. It was really rough.
Right.
But everything is like better now. And if anyone's going through it, like the one thing, like I would always search for somebody who I felt like had a similar story and got through it, because I was like, there's no way I'm ever getting through this. And I did. And now my life is amazing. Like, and I feel like I just had to like go through that. And I was also just my body like telling me, hey, you need a break.
And slow down.
Yeah, because I was going so hard at it for like, since I started content in 2021, like I was grinding, and I wasn't taking care of myself. I was also losing sight of Brandon, and everything was becoming just, what's Bran Flakezz? Who's Bran Flakezz?
Right.
And it kind of like what you were talking about earlier, I was like, who am I pretending to be? And when I just admitted online, like, hey, I have fucking anxiety and I like have days where I'm really like depressed, it felt really freeing.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Like I have chills. I think everyone can like feel that to varying degrees, you know? And there is such a stigma, especially like talking about it to the extent that it was at. And I really, really appreciate you sharing.
I love you.
I love you
You're the
so
best.
much. Would you say, like, when we were recording, was that last year?
The end of 2023, yeah.
Oh,
So
end
like
of
a year,
2023.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Were you dealing with it then or no?
No.
Am I projecting my
Oh my
fucking
God.
anxiety onto
No, I
you?
wasn't. So it started. It started when I went to Aspen. That was my first like ever horrific panic attack, which was February of last year. We recorded in September of the year before, so it wasn't. No, I hadn't been dealing with like anything like that. I had like
Okay,
little
so I was just
instances.
projecting. I remember
Oh my
thinking
God.
like, oh my God, and it was Fashion Week. He had crippling anxiety too.
I did have anxiety, and I always have had like circumstantial anxiety.
Yeah.
But like I think Fashion Week, everyone has anxiety that week because it's just such like a pissing contest.
Right. Oh my God. And I remember you were like, I'm ready to get back.
Yeah, I was like, I'm ready to get out of here. Like,
yeah. And I'm like, babe, Balthazar, come on.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I need to
because
go
you
home.
actually like wanted to hang out and like get to know me and like
But
get
also
drinks. Everyone else
avoiding-
is like, what events are you going to? Were you invited to this show? I was. And it's just too much. You never give a fuck.
It's so much. Do you get anxiety before you post? Like before you like record? I feel like you're so comfortable.
No, only like, okay, so like I'll have a little bit of anxiety if I'm posting about like politics
Yeah.
or something that might be a little more controversial. Otherwise, no, I just like let it rip.
I fucking love you.
Thanks.
And we are gonna post some resources
Yes.
if that's helpful.
Yes.
Bran, I am obsessed with you. Where can they
obsessed with
find you?
Bran _flakes with 2 Z's on TikTok. Bran _flakes with 2 Z's on Instagram.
Thank you so much for coming
Yes,
on.
thank
We are gonna
you.
film a TikTok or two. He's kind
do
of a
it.
big deal on TikTok.
Oh my
Kind of
God.
surpassed 1 million followers. So
I love you.
And you guys know where to find me, Sofia with an F, Franklyn with a Y. Bye, sleuths.
Bye, guys.